Coverkiller Nation, it is an absolutely tremendous and wonderful day for metal. Actually, in this case, progressive rock, mood music, ambient music, progressive folk, psychedelic folk, whatever you want to call it. We're talking Storm Corrosion, baby. I have been waiting for this day for a very, very long time that I am able to finally talk about the first full-length album. The merging, the meeting of the minds between Michael from Opeth and Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree. Their first opus, which is considered to be the finale of a strange and odd trilogy that began with the albums Heritage by Opeth and Grace for Drowning by Steven Wilson. And this is a project that has been a long time coming, ever since the two met in the latter part of the 1990s and originally spoke about a potential collaboration between the two of them, something that kind of grew out of Michael's just love and idolization of Steven Wilson, and Steven Wilson's kind of mutual idolization of him after hearing the album Still Life. There's just such great history between this. And this is an album that really, I think it's going to be really misunderstood by a lot of people going in, but once they kind of understand a little bit more about the two musicians that are at the core of this project, will become all the more obvious that this the style of music, what they played, is 100% what you would expect. Now, that doesn't mean, or doesn't make me feel like any sort of elitist. I'm wearing an Opeth shirt right now. I have multiple Opeth shirts. I have Porcupine Tree shirts. I have albums. I have memorabilia, concerts, tickets, things like that. I love both of these bands probably more than I love my own mother, and that's pretty funny. But this project is something that has a lot on the line for a lot of fans of both of these bands, and it's only fair that it gets its proper review. This is a 6-track affair. It clocks in at under 50 minutes. In fact, it's 47 minutes 51 seconds in length, and it is, as I would describe it, a haunting, cerebral masterpiece of melancholy. This is a tremendous work. It's something where these two fused together create a progressive rock heaven for fans of the genre, mainly because both of them have an immense and very, very chronicled love for the progressive rock genre, especially whenever it comes to progressive rock and the like from the 1970s onward. And the names that come to mind whenever you consider what possible influences could be are the most diverse and the most underground names of the genre that potentially could be spawned. And these are names such as Comus that you would only hear the most detailed and the most vigilant of prog rock junkies unearthing in their speech. These 6 tracks are able to make use of minimal instrumentalization, oftentimes just employing either a light electric or an acoustic guitar, some minor drumming to kind of drive it along, and some bass and keys to just sort of permeate the mood. And of course the vocals are one of the central themes of this record, and it's easy to distinguish between these two vocally, surprisingly enough, and whenever they harmonize, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing, something that only these two can do well. And why I call this album Sinister, cerebral and sinister masterpiece of melancholy, is because of the dissonance that sometimes comes forth during some of these songs, where things seem to be pacing themselves along in a certain direction, and then with a single note, even with just one single note, it kind of takes almost a bit of a morbid twist in what some people may even consider a tongue-in-cheek way, considering that music itself is so calm, it's so, haunting and atmospheric, but then just one note, potentially, or just one little pattern change kind of turns it into a very disturbing, a very moody, a very strange sonoscape that these two minds have been able to forge. And the overall scope of this album is based around this. It's based around a couple of massive tracks, 2 that opened up the record, Storm Corrosion and Drag Ropes, and the finale, and then the 3 tracks that are intermixed in the middle part that are a little bit shorter in length, 2 of them spanning 6 minutes, while the third is a little bit closer to 5. Now, there is just a tremendous amount of atmosphere to go along with this. There's just a tremendous amount to take in, and this almost breeds itself as the types of music, soft music, music that you would think to listen to right before you would go to bed, that nightmares are actually made of. Instead of having this atmosphere of kind of calm, cool down, relaxed feel to them, it does have that in spurts, but then there are large moments of time during this record where it just simply becomes extremely twisted, where everything kind of takes that turn and just seems to take itself to just a completely different environment, one that kind of is the exact polar opposite. These are two guys that have a dual love for both extreme metal and progressive rock, and using a format that is completely unique, kind of resurrecting old prog rock, but employing very haunting and aural, soundscapes, very atmospheric feel. We're able to craft something that is just absolutely a balance of heaven and hell, almost as though this merger has taken place in order to accurately depict both the beautiful and the ugly and how it merges together. This is a really large masterpiece in this distinction, and whenever you consider the two things that I mentioned, extreme metal and progressive rock, this is what that marriage would sound like in almost perfect, pitch perfect harmony. This is exactly what you would expect. You would expect the progressive rock tendencies. You would expect the lavish instrumentalization, the very calm and soothing vocals, something that resembles just a traditional rock album, but then with that touch of extreme metal in the fact that there's that dissonance, that there's that cerebral, that very sinister side to it that interweaves itself within this album. And the two combined together create just absolutely impassioned arrangements. These are arrangements that have been written to fulfill a mood, and that mood has been exuded beautifully. I, for one, will be reliving this experience over and over and over again, completely awestricken by what they were able to accomplish. This is just a beautifully made album. Though it does have its sinister qualities, the beauty is what shines forth. The last notes of track number 6, just the way in which it just flows, just absolutely takes me away. The way in which a song like Happy is able to kind of seem almost comical in a way, but still emanates the mood, but then ends on a very discerning note, is just something that's just interesting to me. Drag Ropes and the accompanying video that I posted whenever I did the track review is a perfect metaphor for what the song is all about. Storm Corrosion's lyrics work beautifully. Hag just has a brilliant passage within it and some spectacular drumming. There's just something on every one of these tracks that just really works wonders and just brands individuality throughout this record, even though the tone may seem very similar throughout. Each track leaves its individual mark. And the only reason why I didn't mention the 5th track on this record is because it is an instrumental. And that itself is its mark. Ladies and gentlemen, it may be too early to tell, but Storm Corrosion has every indication right now of being a candidate for Album of the Year. This is a phenomenal release. Something that you would grow to expect from these two men. Something in which they did not disappoint. I encourage and implore you to pick up this record and give it a chance. Many people, as I said, will not understand this album. Many people will go in expecting one thing and will come out thinking, the fuck was that? But that's the point. This is meant to be something completely different. It's meant to be completely separated from the projects that these two have been a part of in the past. And that's something that makes this album not only truly magnificent, but something truly special and unique here in 2012. 9.5 out of 10. Cannot give this album enough praise. I've been talking for God knows how many minutes, and I feel like I could continue talking. However, I we'll let you do the talking in the comments. Thank you to Steve and Mike for producing just an absolute masterpiece. Something that's... I've went... I came out of the first listening experience changed, and every subsequent listen, I will continue to be more changed and more inspired. So, for that, I cannot thank these two gentlemen enough. I have nothing else to say. Thank you guys for watching.